Afternoon. Evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good to see so many of you here. Delighted to see you. We are absolutely delighted to welcome Michael back to Ibrox, and I'd just like to open the floor and for you to ask your questions.
Thanks so much, Stuart. Michael, welcome back to the club. You said in an interview on Sky Sports News a couple of days ago that this job was impossible to turn down. What was impossible to turn down about it?
Firstly, the relationships that were built and the feeling that was built with the staff and the players behind the scenes over the 3.5 years previously here. The size of the club, the expectation is everything that you'd want as a manager, as a coach. And yeah, that was the big reason. Obviously, my family situation as well, living here, my children loving the time here, my daughter being born here. There's a lot of things coming together that made this a wonderful opportunity for me.
You said as well that the players need to be energised by the change in management. Is it 3 or 4 days you've had with the players on the training pitch? Have you seen that energy, and can you just give us a little bit of an insight into what you've got from them these last few days?
Yeah, a lot of honesty, you know, that we spoke together as a group, and I've spoke to a lot of the players individually on the training pitch. They've been fantastic. I've never been away in terms of a coach working with them. I know previously I was the first team coach working with them, coming back as the manager. It's slightly different, but on the training pitch we fit together again very well. There's a few new faces that I'm excited to work with, and some good players in that as well. So the first 3 days couldn't have gone any better for me personally.
You've swapped one Rangers for another by joining here. Just a few weeks ago, you did an interview on the QPR website and said that you were in it for the long run there and you wanted to show loyalty to the club. You've obviously left here just a few weeks later. Can you understand why maybe some of the Queen's Park Rangers supporters perhaps feel betrayed by that?
Yeah, completely. Listen, I understand. At the time I spoke then, that was with honesty in that moment. That was a wonderful opportunity that presented me at that moment. So I was very honest about my feelings towards QPR, the club, the owners and direction they were going. This came out of nowhere and I had a decision to make, and I think it's fair to say that this is a wonderful football club. It's an institution. It was a Europa League finalist just 6 months ago, and it was an opportunity that I couldn't turn down. It was an opportunity I didn't want to turn down. I wanted to come back and work with the board and the players here and unite that with the fans and move forward. So I apologise for disappointing the people down there. I think it's a really good project, but this one was one that I wasn't willing to walk away from.
Ross, if I can ask you, Michael said a couple of days ago that one of the attractions of coming back was to work closely with you again, that you two had a good relationship in his time here. So looking ahead to January, can you give any kind of assurances as to what Michael will get to spend resource-wise in the transfer window?
Yeah, we spoke about that over the interview process last week. So Michael first and foremost wants to assess what's here. Probably about 3/4 of the squad he already knows very well. Probably get his grips again as to where the boys are at today, as well as familiarise himself with the new players as well. But there's certainly an assurance if Michael wants to do something in the market, then from the board's point of view, we'll try and back that as much as we possibly can, as always.
Next, Joshua. Hi Michael, you spoke on, I think it was Rangers TV, about new variety and the way that you want to set up your team, maybe some new ideas. Can you give us an idea of how you want a Michael Beale Rangers team to look like, even though we had a lot of influence last time around?
I think he's got to be on the front foot. We have to play like the big team, so we have to take the ball and we have to play on the front foot, and we've got to be exciting to watch. I think the first thing is to be timing. I think the first thing is it's got to be exciting to play on a daily basis. It's got to be about this group now. This group's slightly different to when I was previously here. We've got to take the ball and we've got to go and attack. I would like to see us run forward a little bit more off the ball and play a little bit closer together. So look, I'm really excited to working with the group. I think the squad is really strong, and I think we'll see a little variety. I'm not going to sit here now, Josh, and give you everything on my 3rd or 4th day. I think the fans should look forward to see the team play on the 15th of December.
And you've spent those 3 days, you say, with the team. What have you seen? What excites you about working with the group, and how's the atmosphere been in those first 3 days?
The boys have been fantastic towards me and the staff. There's obviously a few new members of staff that have come in. It's very much a management team. They've been very positive around the place. There's obviously a few familiar faces, and there was relationships and a feeling that was built over a long period of time previously. So I'm delighted to be back working with them, not just in the playing staff either, in the support staff around the building. It was nice to see a lot of nice faces, and I fitted back in very, very well. So now it's about working every day to improve.
Michael, welcome back to Glasgow. Given the demands at this football club, have you sought any assurances in the medium term, given that if things don't start the way you want them to, that there will be undoubted pressure given what you inherit?
No, because that's part of the course. I think as a manager, I think you come in and the fans want results straight away. This is a club where the pressure here, or the expectation, I like to call it expectation. I think it's a privilege to have expectation on you as well, for people to expect you to do well, for expect the club to be winning. So I like that. I like working in that environment, and I think we just got to improve in terms of the areas that I think the team can improve in. I think there was a real good feel-good factor around the club at different times over the last 18 months. We're sat here today and everything seems broken. I don't think that's the case, and that's why I'm here with so much energy and desire to do well with these players, and I've told them that. So it starts on the training pitch.
Given Giovanni Van Bronckhorst took the club to a Europa League final, the group stages of the Champions League, but his tenure was a year, did you look at that and maybe think there was some personal risk, given that managers don't tend to get that long across the board?
No, just excitement to come back and work. I thought certainly, the last two managers, two fantastic coaches, in my opinion, and obviously international captains, wealth of experience. When Stephen left here and I left as part of that team with Gary and the rest of the staff, I think we'd lost 1 in 52 in the league. We just won a league unbeaten. Gio took that on, won a cup, and he's got to Europa League final, which for a Scottish team was a huge achievement. So I think this squad is a squad with players that are used to winning. They do win football matches, and it's important I continue that onwards and add my own little stamp on it. And so I'm extremely positive about what the future holds for Rangers Football Club.
Hi Michael, obviously you were part of the team with Stephen for 3.5 years to the club, from where they were to becoming champions. Giovanni to the club to a European final, won the first Scottish Cup in over a decade. When you sat down with Ross, with the board, to agree to become manager, what long-term targets were set for you?
We need to win 56 as soon as possible. We need to improve our cup record, which obviously we slightly improved last year by winning the Scottish Cup, and we need to improve the identity on the pitch. That's what I feel. That's what the group of players feel as well. And I think at the moment, 1 or 2 players' value is probably not the reality of what it was 6 or 8 months ago. That's damaging to the players, the football club, and to the staff. So we have to improve that. All the players in the building have got a lot of responsibility as well towards their own careers. So it's my job to uphold them to that, and my job is to try and get the best out of them. And getting the best out of the individual will make a stronger team and a stronger Rangers. And I'm excited to get working with the boys.
You said that you need to win 56 as soon as possible. Do you think it is realistic to have a proper title championship season this season? Obviously, there is a long way still to go. You are 9 points behind Celtic. Do you feel that it is a realistic aim for you to challenge for the title this season?
I think the first thing to do is for us to get the identity on the pitch where we want it, the energy on the pitch, the right players on the pitch, and start moving forward and winning football games. This Christmas period will have a big part in whether we can do that or not. The most important thing now is to win the next game, which is always the job here as a manager at Rangers. Win the next game, see where it takes us. I think the goalpost will move. If we keep winning games, then obviously something will happen. This time last year, not too late after this, I believe there was a 7-point gap in our favour. So it can be turned around, but the most important thing right now is not to talk too big, it's to win the next game.
Michael, one of the criticisms that the team has faced this season is that it maybe hasn't looked as fit as it had done in previous seasons. Is there anything a manager coming in at this stage of the season can do, or is that really something that has to wait till pre-season?
I think we can work strongly on cohesion in my ideas, which will be slightly different to the previous manager, of course. So the cohesion, we move around together in a certain way, and that can look very collective in terms of your energy on the pitch, and that's something we're working at. It's fair to say we've got some key injuries at the moment. We need to get them back fit because they'll certainly make us stronger. We don't want to use that as an excuse right now. It will certainly make us stronger over time when they get back. And then we'll look at that. Gio and his staff did what they thought was best in their time at the club, and now I've got to take it on with my staff and do what I think is right for this group of players now.
Can you tell us a little bit about the background staff that you've brought in over the last few days?
Yeah, Neil Banfield joins, and Damien Matthew and Harry Watling all joined from QPR with me. Neil spent 21 years with Arsenal, 8 years as first team coach of Arsene Wenger. Damien Matthew joins from QPR where he was assistant coach. Damien, former player with Chelsea, Burnley, Crystal Palace, former England 21. Lots of time as an assistant and a first team coach at Charlton with a lot of players that came through there, so a real developer. Harry Watling, a younger coach who's a first team coach that worked at Chelsea, West Ham, Millwall, been coaching in America. And then just today we announced Jack A joining us as head of performance. Jack's come from Liverpool where he spent the last 8 years. Prior to that, had periods at Newcastle and Tottenham as well. So the staff, I think, is hugely experienced at working with a vibrant young squad and helping players on their personal journeys. I'm delighted with the staff. There might be an addition later on, but we'll see how we go for the moment.
Hi Michael, welcome back. It's never easy for managers to get a job halfway through a season. What does the short term look for you? What does success look for you in order to give you that momentum going into your first summer?
I think getting my ideas across, collaborating with his players, in terms of what's the best fit for us now to make a really strong Rangers in the coming weeks. This next 10 days is hugely important on the training pitch to get ready for the game against Hibs, and then winning the first game. I think that's it, showing a new face, a new positivity around the building, around the club, around the way we're playing, aligning the ideas of the board through myself and the management team to the players and ultimately the fans. It's got to be aligned, we've got to be together, because when we are, we're a very strong club.
Do you feel you have to win a couple of weeks to just get that momentum going?
We have to try and win everything, man. So we have to try and go for everything. So.
Guys, we'll do Jordan and then we'll get the mic down in front just so we can go on time.
Hi Michael, just wondered whether you had spoken to Steven Gerrard before you took the job, and having spent 3.5 years with him, is there any particular lessons you learned in terms of being the figurehead, being the leader at the club?
When I stood beside him for 193 games, him and Gary, so I saw a little bit of everything in that time. It's certain to say we had bumps in the road that Stephen mentioned here back in May or June of 2018. There certainly was plenty of those, but there was a load of highs as well. We built a really strong squad with Ross and the recruitment team, and behind the scenes we created and redeveloped a lot of Ibrox and the training ground. The training ground is fantastic. Coming back into it the last few days, it really has even kicked on another notch. The work that we've done behind the scenes here at Ibrox is fantastic. The club's in a really good place. We've missed each other in terms of messages and that, but we go back and forth all the time. I know I have his support, and Gary and the rest of the staff that was here as well. I lived a fantastic journey here with those guys, and now I look forward to doing that the same with this management team.
Just a question for Ross. Obviously part of the reason Mike was here for the work that he did at Rangers for those 3.5 years. Some people might say, why was he not the appointment 12 months ago? What makes you sure that he's the right man after being away for a year?
I think we obviously were very impressed by the work that Michael did under Stephen's guidance during the period that he was here before. I think Michael's used the word identity a few times. We want to make sure that we've got an absolute clear identity on the pitch. We think that the squad will be better for that, and we know what his ideas are. But probably more than that, we know the energy that he'll bring as well. I think one of the guys already asked a question about what we've felt so far, and you can certainly see the energy of the players behind the ideas, working ever so hard. Obviously, we've got some players that we've welcomed back from injury already. He's been a welcome boost to the squad. Others will join the squad in the coming days and weeks, which is another boost to the squad. But we can see that energy that Michael's brought. We can see the energy on the pitch. But above all else, we want to see that identity, and we know that Michael's very, very clear on it.
Just keep it to one question each day, just so we get through, so that all you guys get a question, so you're absent.
Michael, welcome back. Just want to ask, why Rangers and not Wolves?
The feeling, the relationship I have for this club, for the city where I lived. I had a wonderful time here previously, lived a really big experience. There's a lot of players in the dressing room that understand my ideas because we worked together previously, and I really enjoyed working with them and the staff, and it was the perfect moment when it was given to me. It was the right moment for me to come back. And I think sometimes, you know, the vision of the people behind the scenes, it drives all the decision making. So the vision of the way that you want to play, it drives your decision making in terms of recruitment, the way that you train. And so I believe in that. I believe in where this club's going, and that's why I've come back. I want to be part of it. I was chomping at the bit to get back up the road and get back involved in the football club.
Michael, welcome back. Do you believe you can get a tune out of Alfredo Morelos for the remainder of this season? His fitness has been widely discussed.
If he performs how he trained today, then yes. Obviously, in the time that I was here previously under Stephen managed him fantastically well. And Alfredo broke the European goal scoring record for the club, and he helped us achieve what we wanted to achieve, which was to win the league. And I think it's not just Alfredo. Can we get Kamaru back playing as well? Because that's two fantastic strikers we've probably not had firing. In the coming months, we'll have Yanis Hadji available as well, and Tom Lawrence. So all of a sudden, we've become a much stronger squad and a much stronger Rangers. I really look forward to the day all those guys are training and fit in front of me.
Michael, congratulations on the job. What will it mean walking out and being in the dugout as the main man at Ibrox against Hibs, of course? And it's a club built on traditions, wearing the suit for match days as well. That takes some getting used to.
I'm looking forward to that. I've been reminded a few times, but I didn't need reminding, if I'm honest. Obviously, I know the traditions. It's a traditional football club. It's an institution. I think as we modernise football, I think that, you know, some of the traditions are really important in terms of the culture of the club. So the players are hearing this first. They'll go back to wearing suits as well on match days as well at home. I think it's important that we live in the tradition of the football club. And this is a club that when you come in, you fit to them traditions as well, and you try to enhance them as you go on. So hugely proud moment for me and my family the last few days. It will all become very, very real very quickly. I'm sure you guys will make that a reality as well in terms of how real it will be. I look forward to all of that. But yeah, the 15th of December is a date that I'm counting down to.
Michael, when you're here with Stephen, it seemed to be that made incremental improvements in the squad in every transfer window. Is that something you intend to continue, or do you think that there may have to be some more perhaps radical surgery to the squad?
I'm just in the assessing stage at the moment, to be honest. I've come back in, I'm seeing I'm looking at the eyes and the energy of all the players, and so far so good. I need to assess and be really honest with everybody about where their role is in the squad and the clarity. And then we're always looking to improve. It's a club that has to, because of the demands placed on it. And we're always working and looking in the transfer market. And there's lots of interesting players out there. You know, if you look in the last couple of years, Joe Aribo and Calvin Bassey come into the club as pretty much unknowns for very low fees. And in the last year, we've done very well in terms of player trading, in terms of them going out. And the conveyor belt's always in the background. And so what I think at this moment in time is if everyone's fit, it's a very, very strong Rangers squad. And then naturally, every single window, you try to just edge it on and see what bits are needed.
Going back to Jordan's question about Stephen, how would you compare your management style to his, and how big an influence has he been on you as a manager?
Stephen's been a huge influence on me as a person, because he has very high standards as a person, very high morals. And the 3.5 years I worked with him, he has enabled me to be sat in a position like this. He brought me on a lot in terms of management and leadership. I think I added a different part to that management team, which was obviously in terms of the coaching on the pitch and working with Tom and Jordan and Scott and obviously Gary. Gary gave us loads in terms of a mentor and older brother. So I don't want to compare myself to anybody. Stephen's himself. I think Stephen's going to go on to be a fantastic manager of his staff. This is the start of a new journey here now, and there will be subtle differences. Neither of us were overly close to the players in terms of being friends, but they certainly knew that we cared for them every single day. And we certainly built strong feelings with our players, and I think that's the way you have to go. So I'm going to be very hands-on as a coach on the pitch for sure, for certain, because I think that's what my skill set is.
Last one.
Michael, you said there that there's a very strong squad in place here already. Even in your early assessments of that squad, how do you think it compares with the one that you left behind?
It's different. Obviously, we've had some young boys do very, very well here and go on, one to the Premier League and one to the Eredivisie, two to the Premier League if you include Nathan as well. So that's very important to remain sustainable. We know that the finances in the Scottish League alone are not enough to sustain such a big club. So you have to do well in Europe, and you have to win domestically, and you also have to trade players in and out as well. And I think that's what will make a strong club. What I would say here is it's slightly different with this squad. I'm quite excited about getting some of the attacking players with my ideas, because I think that they're capable of a little bit more, and I've told them that. And that's on the players first. It's the players that go and play. Us coaches are a little bit overrated. We give a nice roadmap for the players, but they've got to go out there and they've got to play the game. So it's important they take responsibility and they play together.
Okay, folks. Broadcasters, do you want to go and take a seat in the members, please? Cameras, Louise will take you guys trackside. Daily guys, do you want to just go forward and find a seat in the front, please?